Welcome back to the channel. Data frames are great for holding multidimensional data, and in this video, I want to show you how we can take advantage of using a parallel coordinates plot for visualizing this data. However, instead of using a tool like Plotly Express like I've done before, I'm going to show you how we can actually develop this with Pandas and the library tools that already exist therein. Let's get started. I'm now showing you the documentation for the Pandas plotting. And here you can see we have our parallel coordinates method, and this has many of the usual arguments for parallel coordinates plots. We have our data frame where we will source our data. We can specify the class column. This will in turn illustrate how to visualize. This will give us a way to determine how to color the plot, as well as the selected columns we want for our visualization, and a few other arguments if we want to detail our plot differently. And you can see the full documentation here. The data we're going to use and we've used for several videos can be found here. I have the link in the notebook, but here it's just the soil composition after a number of different mineral and organic fertilizers in this particular region in Russia. So in the notebook, I have that data downloaded at this path. I'm doing some work to get my data frame set up and a little bit of data cleaning. Again, you can see this by freezing the video, and we will get started. So I'll run the cell to ensure it's in the memory. And then we will go down to this next cell where I already have my list of columns that I want to plot using the parallel coordinates plot. So to visualize this information, we're going to use the PD alias for pandas and use the plotting module. And from there, we will call the parallel coordinates function. And again, if we add the parentheses and type Shift Tab, we can see the documentation. And so our data frame is called DF, and the columns we want to pass in will be passed in as a list of strings. And in this case, we're just going to use the plot calls. I'm using these because these columns vary quite a bit. So many of the columns in this data set, as you will see if you look at it, don't vary very much, but these would be more interesting to illustrate. And let's actually ensure that we call that argument, which I believe is called, yep. And so last, let's pass in the class column so we can have our plot illustrated properly. And we will pass in the experimental group. These are just the various treatments of the soil fertilizers. And I've talked about this data in a number of videos now, so I won't go into as much detail. And if we run this, we will get our very basic parallel coordinates plot. Something that might be good to do is to change the color scheme. And so we can do that by passing in the color map argument. And I tend to like the tab 10 color map, but there's several others you can select from. And because this is truly a matplotlib plot, we can use the typical functions like plot.title and just set this as parallel coordinates plot from pandas. And lastly, to clean up all this extra language, we can just use the plot.show method and run this. And you see we have a plot developed directly from the pandas library, but again, it's accessing matplotlib. The nice thing is that this is working really natively with our data frame structure, which might be the appeal. And we still have access to all the conveniences of matplotlib and Seaborn for styling and other functionality therein. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.